Okay, welcome friends. We're starting with music today because everything is music all the time, everywhere, and it's a good way to open our hearts and start to attune to each other in the atmosphere. This is called the January Bismillah. Bismillahirrahman, Bismillahirrahim, Bismillahirrahman, Bismillahirrahim, Bismillahirrahman, Bismillahirrahim, Bismillahirrahman, Bismillahirrahim. Hu Allah, Hu Allah. Do you feel enthusiasm and excitement when it's time to do the invocation? Do you? Do you feel like ho hum, boring drudgery, here it is again? No? Something in between? It's all okay. However you feel about it is fine. Okay. Svancha, would you be willing to share the invocation in German with us this evening for you? And then we're going to bop back over here for the English and then a big old practice. Svancha, please.
Dem einen entgegen, der Vollkommenheit, der Liebe, der Harmonie und der Schönheit, dem einzig Seienden, vereint mit all den erleuchteten Seelen, den Meister, den Geist der Führung verkörpernd. Amen.
Svancha, I love hearing your voice. Thank you for being willing to do that and to share it in German with us. Okay, here's in English, and I've been putting the S on towards in attunement to Murshid's original version. Towards the one, the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, the only being, united with all the illuminated souls who form the embodiment of the Master, the Spirit of guidance. Amen. Okay, today I brought you a new practice that I was just introduced to yesterday. I love practices. Do you love them? Is it exciting? You're like, yes. What else can we do with our minds and hearts and bodies and sound space and intention and prayer? What else? What else? I am super ADD about practices. I'm like, I have ones that are favorites and go to and keep coming back to the foundational practices again and again. And I also just love learning new things and finding and exploring new perspectives, new ways of implementing and experiencing things. So we're going to visit the invocation in a way that I was just guided through by Pir Moinadeen. Christopher Clark is the Pir, the head of the Fraternity of Light, that is a sister lineage stream to the Ruhaniyat. And he also loves practices. And he sends out, this is not part of the practice, so I'm just introducing. Who is this guy that I love and appreciate him so much? He sends out seasonal updates to his Marids list and the group, the community and the Fraternity of Light, which I am a member of, and some of you are also members of, have been initiated in that lineage as well. And he sends out seasonal updates that are usually, if you were to print it, it would probably be 2 pages of just exploring, discovering the message and the energy, the atmosphere, the prayerful usefulness of each season. And while he's describing things and talking about what we can do with that in our inner life, along with, in harmony with the outer life, he'll just sprinkle in wazifa practices all over the place. So we're going to do a lot of that today. And one of the ways that he brought this yesterday when I was talking with him is through the invocation. So we're going to go through the invocation and pause after each line and visit a wazifa or 2 or a phrase of attunement in Arabic that can help us embody it a little more fully, that we can visit each line and go, what is the energy, atmosphere, essence of that we can repeat and amplify in our own heart experience. Okay? So I'll give you a warning about the things that are coming. Maybe I'll walk through it once without it being so much of a practice, and then because I think I'll need to describe what some of the words are for you, and then we'll go through it and spend some time with it. So we'll say towards the one, and then we'll hang out there and recite Bismillah. Bismillah. And rest in that for a couple minutes. Then we'll say the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, And we'll rest in Irrahman, Irrahim. Irrahman, Irrahim. Mercy and compassion. Then the only being, and we'll rest in Kulhu Allahu Ahad. Kulhu Allahu Ahad, which is basically saying, here's a very simple translation for it, is saying, say who, that is like enunciate the sound of the essence of God. Kulhu Allahu, that is the one being, the all-pervading reality. Ahad, the one, that is one of the beautiful names of God that means the one, but it's the aspect of one that transcends distinctions and divisions, that is the all-inclusive one. Yeah, Kulhu Allahu Ahad. Then, united with all the illuminated souls, we'll visit Nur Jami. Nur Jami. Nur is the beautiful name of God that is light, the living, intelligent light. Jami is another beautiful name of God that means the gatherer, that is the quality of God that brings all of the disparate parts together, not unifying them, not mushing them together, but just gathering them together. And Sadi refers to Jami as, what does he call it, like sifting for gems or something, where you gather up everything and then you determine what is useful and what you need to keep. But first you have to bring everything in together. Okay, Jami, the gatherer. And then who form the embodiment of the master. And we'll have a couple of different things in here. Rasul, Maqbul. And most of you have done this practice with me. Rasul, Maqbul. Rasul is one of the names for the prophet or the messenger, that not one particular human being, but the entity of, like any prophet, messenger of God that brought the divine message, the divine light for all of humanity. So Rasul is the biggest aspect of prophet. And Maqbul is the material integrated experience of that. So when we recite Rasul Maqbul, we're saying, I am acknowledging and integrating, embodying, and living that quality of Rasul. I am welcoming that into my own experience, Rasul Maqbul. And then the spirit of guidance is Ruh Hadi. Ruh Hadi. Ruh means the soul or the breath or the atmosphere that conveys the what's the word? Sorry, my brain just stopped. Thank you. Those are good efforts. Those aren't the words I was looking for, but ruh. That conveys a particular atmosphere. So the ruh is the atmosphere, but it literally means breath or soul or spirit. And Hadi is guidance. That is one of the beautiful names of God for guidance. You don't have to remember all that. I'll guide us through it, but there's your roadmap for where we're going. Okay, are you excited now? If you weren't excited before, are you excited now? Okay, so how about I'll say one line that we're going to work with in English, and then you can repeat it after me, so you have that attunement in your awareness as well. And then I'll say the Arabic attunement for it. You're welcome to repeat that after me as well. And then we're just going to spend a minute or two in each of those concentrations. Okay? I hope that made sense. Towards the one. Towards the one. Bismillah. Bismillah. And then repeat Bismillah in your own heart awareness. If you need to whisper it to yourself to remind yourself periodically, you can. But just being in that living atmosphere of towards the one as Bismillah. And knowing that towards the one includes the neighborhood sounds. the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty.
The perfection of love, harmony, and beauty.
Irachman, Irachim.
Irachman, Irachim.
Resting in Irachman, Irachim, the merciful, the compassionate. If you need to keep whispering it to yourself, you're welcome to do that. The only being. The only being. Kulhu Allahu Ahad. Kulhu Allahu Ahad. Say Hu, the all-pervading God reality that is one. Kulhu Allahu Ahad. United with all the illuminated souls. United with all the illuminated souls. Nur Jami. Nur Jami. Light gathering. Nur Jami. Who form the embodiment of the Master. Who form the embodiment of the Master. Rasul Maqbul. Rasul Maqbul. Which you could translate as the embodiment of the Master. Rasul being the prophet, the messenger, that great one that carries the message of God. Maqbul, the becomingness, the integrating. the spirit of guidance.
The spirit of guidance.
Ruh Hadi.
Ruh
Hadi. Spirit. Guide. Ruh Hadi. Amin. Which in Arabic is Amin. Pretty good, huh? You like it?
Mm-hmm.
Should we do it again? Not
Sure.
right now, but sometime.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to make that a normal thing. Maybe we'll start doing that as part of our Monday meditation.
Yeah.
That would be sweet, huh? We're about to change up the prayers because we have 2 more weeks before it's time to start all over again. Okay, friends, here's I saw a thumbs up icon from someone. Oh, Razia. Glad you liked it, Razia. So we're also going to say the prayer of the Universal. It's in the hymnal, in the missal, if you wish. It's in there whether you wish or not, but you're welcome to see it if you wish. The prayer of the Universal is really, I think, yeah, it's the only prayer that Murshid assigned to be done 3 times a day. That is part of the morning, midday, and evening prayers that he suggested. He didn't assign that one. Yeah, we just do that because we love it, or because it feels like the intro. But yeah, he assigned Psalm, Pir, the affirmation, and the Universal in the morning, but not the invocation. We just do it. And we just did it. So recently, my teacher, Ramat, who I love, has been suggesting doing the prayer for the Universal 3 times. And I adapted his instruction a little bit. I adapted Moinadine's instruction for the invocation practices too, but it's close enough, I think he would approve. So for the way that Ramat has recommended using the prayer of the Universal is that we say it once for ourselves. That is inviting ourselves into that awareness, that living atmosphere of the Universal, that is the space, the accommodation for all of the religions and all of the peoples of the world, cultivating the spirit of tolerance, of love, of friendship. And then the second time is, in the way that Ramat describes it, is for the particular Sufi lineage that you're a part of. But he actually described it as, well, that lineage, and also all of the other lineages that trace their inspirations to Inayat Khan, so all of the sister lineages. I feel like that might not be the most relevant concentration for us, so I suggest that the second concentration is for your own immediate sense of community. That can be the people that are in the room, in the Zoom. It can be the people in your neighborhood, your family and friends, people that you know and love and care about and feel connected to in whatever way. So your own personal sense of community. And then the third time is for all of humanity, for the world. So first time personal, second time community, either your spiritual tariqat or whatever sense of community, and the third for the world, for all of humanity. So it's in the chat window if you need it, or in your missalette if you need it. O thou, who art the maker, molder, and builder of the universe, build with thine own hands the universal, our temple for thy divine message of love, harmony, and beauty. Again, this time for the community. O thou who art the maker, molder, and builder of the universe, build with thine own hands the universal, our temple for thy divine message of love, harmony, and beauty. Third time for all of humanity, for our worldwide human family. O thou who art the maker, molder, and builder of the universe, build with thine own hands the universal, our temple for thy divine message of love, harmony, and beauty. Amen. Okay, friends. On to the fifth Sufi thought. Would you like to know what a complete dork I am? Of course you would. I want you to know that I number my outline, and each time I'm going through this so far, I won't be able to keep doing this forever, but I make sure that I have 4 things before the fifth Sufi thought is number 5 on my outline, because it just hurts my brain less to have 2 5s next to each other. And if it was number 3 and it was the fifth Sufi thought, I would have a little like, there's something wrong here. So I'm technically not OCD, but I might be able to get that diagnosis if I wanted to. Okay, so our fifth Sufi thought that we've been visiting one per month for all of this year is, there is one law, the law of reciprocity, which can be observed by a selfless conscience together with a sense of awakened justice. That's a lot of big words in there, isn't it? There is one law. Are we good with that? The law of reciprocity. Are we good with that? Cause and effect, balance, rhythm, which can be observed by a selfless conscience. That means you cannot see it from a selfish, self-centered perspective. You can only see it from a selfless conscience, together with a sense of awakened justice. So objectivity, stepping out of oneself, along with a sense of awakened justice, which means a purified perspective of what is true and right. Murshid has a lot to say about this. Would you like to hear some of it? Here it is. This is from Sufi Message Volume 1, and it's in the very first section. So, this is like front and center as the tenets of the Sufi order, as he at some points called it, the Sufi order. There is one law, the law of reciprocity, which can be observed by a selfless conscience together with a sense of awakened justice. This is an excerpt, meaning that I took some of the things out of here, and we're going to weave in lots of wazifa practices with this. Man, human beings, have made laws to suit themselves. But they are laws by which one can get the better of another. They are self-serving laws. Yeah? It is this that humans call justice. And it is only that which is done to him, that one person, by another, that he calls injustice. That made Riaz happy. I don't think it made Riaz happy, but it made him guffaw. It was kind of an ironic guffaw, I think. A peaceful and harmonious life with one's fellow men, fellow humans, cannot be led until the sense of justice has been awakened in one by a selfless conscience. Did you get it? Sort of.
No, again.
All right.
Please.
I'm going to read it with all of Murshid's words, even though they're very masculine, but know that he's talking about all of humanity. He's not talking gender specific, but it'll make it easier to just read it as a flow. Man has made laws to suit himself, but they are laws by which he can get the better of another. It is this that he calls justice. and it is only that which is done to him by another that he calls injustice. A peaceful and harmonious life with his fellow men cannot be led until the sense of justice has been awakened in him by a selfless conscience. One person in the room nodded. Is anyone in the Zoom room nodding? Did you get it? You're like, good enough? We'll work with it some more, but I'm going to read on. Here's the next part. As the judicial authorities of the world intervene between two persons who are at variance, knowing that they have a right to intervene, meaning the authorities know that they have a right to intervene, when the two parties are in dispute, are blinded by personal interest, so the almighty power intervenes in all disputes, however small or great. We have our little human version of authorities trying to help when there's a problem. And also, there's the all-pervading power presence of God that is constantly intervening in all matters, small and large. Okay? There's more. That'll help. Certainly, that'll help. The sense of justice is awakened in a perfectly sober mind. The sense of justice is awakened in a perfectly sober mind. That is, a mind which is free from the intoxication of youth, strength, power, possession, command, birth, or rank. All of those things he calls intoxicants. A perfectly sober mind is one which is free from the intoxication of youth, strength, power, possession, command, birth, or rank. Do you like it? Hearing it again won't help, though, will it? No. It seems a net profit when one does not give but takes, or when one gives less and takes more. But in either case, there is really a greater loss than profit. For every such profit spreads a cover over the sense of justice within. And when many such covers have veiled the sight, man becomes blind even to his own profit. It is like standing in one's own light. Blind here remains blind in the hereafter. Is your brain hurting yet?
Yeah.
All of this is pointing toward try to overcome self-interest. Try to overcome self-interest. Everything is going to boil down to that. Self-cherishing, self-interest does not allow you to perceive justice and rightness. There's a little more. Are you ready? It's this much more. Although the different religions, in teaching man how to act harmoniously and peacefully with his fellow men, have given out different laws, they all meet in this one truth. Do unto others as thou wouldst they should do unto thee. Got a little, like a shoulder bop nod from Svancha. That was super cute. Everyone in the room is doing that now, Svancha.
You didn't hear it, but I also said easy because it's easy to not do unto others what you don't want them to do unto you. I was like, sure, I got that.
I like it.
We've heard that
Okay.
before, so
We've heard it everywhere before. Yes, but we also have all of the information about trying to get what you can from life. There's also a lot of preaching about materialism and self-importance and self-cherishing and arrogance and a lot of celebrations of ego and greed and power over, and like all of these things are very enticing and very much ingrained in our society. So being able and finding ways to step out of that, to recognize it, to try to recognize it, to even bring sincere effort to seeing it clearly. And then there has to be, this is so important. I think we lose sight of this. There has to be an inherent sense of safety and a confidence that it's a good thing to do, right? That we come back to this a lot. Every time these things come up, I get some of you who are saying, yes, but I've been a victim so much in my life, and so I need to like assert my own authority, and self-cherishing is actually the healthy balance that is necessary to overcome, the wounding. So this is, we have to do what we can to overcome the wounding, to balance things out. And once we have done that to the greatest extent that we can, then we can start shaping things really according to our ideals, not out of reactivity, but out of a deliberate activity. Yeah? Okay. So we're going to go through all of these readings again, this whole reading again, but we're going to, actually, we might not read all of it again, but I have woven through a whole bunch of wazifa concentrations that we're going to do a sentence of Murshid's readings and then just settle into reciting beautiful names of God that can help us understand it or overcome it through reciting these beautiful energies, tools, attributes of the beloved. Yeah? Okay. I'm inspired by Moinadine right now. Can you tell? Here it is. The thought again is, there is one law, the law of reciprocity, which can be observed by a selfless conscience, together with a sense of awakened justice. Man has made laws to suit himself, but they are laws by which he can get the better of another. It is this that he calls justice, and it is only that which is done to him by another that he calls injustice. A peaceful and harmonious life with one's fellow men cannot be led until the sense of justice has been awakened by a selfless conscience. A harmonious life, Ya Salam, Ya Halim, Ya Hai. Ya Salam, invoking peace. Ya Halim, friendship, warmth, kindness. Ya Hai, life. Ya Salam, Ya Halim, Ya Hai. 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 Ya Salam, Ya Halim, Ya Hay, Ya Salam, Ya Halim, Ya Hay. One more. Ya Salam, Ya Halim, Ya Hay. And continuing in silence. A peaceful and harmonious life cannot be led until the sense of justice has been awakened by a selfless conscience. Ya Hakam, Ya Hakim, Ya Hakam, Ya Hakim. And these share the same roots that you have Hak at the beginning, which is truth. It's not exactly the same form, but it has the same meaning. And Hakam is like justice that is really holding things in balance and understanding what is right and good. And Hakim is said to be like discriminating wisdom that is understanding what is right and good and also moving with that, acting, expressing that rightness and goodness. Ya Hakam, Ya Hakim, 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 Ya Hakam, Ya. Continuing in silence. As the judicial authorities of the world intervene when there is a variance, a dispute, so the almighty power intervenes in all disputes, however small or great. Yea, Ya Malik, that is the sovereign, the king, the ruler, along with Ya Majid, that is the majestic, the magnificent, and one of our favorites, Ya Adil. Adil. I know, it's the most adorable. That doesn't mean anything adorable, apparently, unfortunately. I know it's not onomatopoeic. It is ironic a little. So Adil, it's spelled apostrophe A-D-L. And it means to find the perfect balance, that is the perfect harmony, the perfect combination, and to keep things that way. So it is maintaining balance, maintaining equanimity, which includes discerning what that is. So Adil. So we'll say Ya Malik, Ya Majid, Ya Adil. 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 On the breath. They're cheering for Adil, I think. I don't know if y'all can hear that. There's probably a Little League game happening down the block. I'm guessing. The sense of justice is awakened in a perfectly sober mind. I love that sentence. The sense of justice is awakened in a perfectly sober mind. There's the trick. How to find a perfectly sober mind. Ya Shahid, Ya Haq, Ya Latif. Ya Shahid. Shahid is the witness. That is the objective perspective. That the way that Sadi describes it is that it's like the eye at the center of the storm. That is the perfectly calm, at peace, centered, stable wisdom perspective that can see everything just spinning and twirling and chaos all around it, but it remains still and perfect at the center. Shahid. Shahid. Ya Haq is truth, the all-pervading, irrefutable truth. And Latif. And Latif is the subtle awareness that can pierce through all of the outer forms to the nuanced essence at the center that can be so small and almost imperceptible, but entirely there if we really pay attention correctly. Yeah. Ya Shahid, Ya Haq, Ya Latif. 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 Ya Shahid, Ya Haq, Ya in silence. The sense of justice is awakened in a perfectly sober mind. That is, one which is free from the intoxication of youth, strength, power, possession, command, birth, or rank. Ya Qudus, Ya Nur, Ya Qudus. Qudus is usually said to mean the holy, but it also means the pure, or the purified, the sanctified, and Nur, back to the light, that active living light. Ya Qudus, Ya Nur, 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 Ya Qudus, Ya, in silence. We're on the home stretch. How are y'all doing? Are you okay? We have two more. You ready? I only do the things I love. Oh, let's see, where were we? Oh, profit and loss and justice, and you can't see it. It gets all covered over with all these layers of whatever self-interest. Oh, let's see. You cannot sense justice when there are so many covers that have veiled the sight. Man becomes blind even to his own profit. It is like standing in one's own light. That means that all you can see is what you are projecting, right? Blind here remains blind in the hereafter. Ya Rafi, Ya Zahir, Ya Ali, Ya Rafi, Ya Zahir, Ya Ali. So Rafi is the exalted, or that is what is lifted up and carried away, and it's the complement to Khafid, which is the diminished and the constricted, right? So Rafi is lifted up on the wings of praise and joy. Zahir is what is manifest. It is seeing what is actually true. It is what is obvious, that you don't have to try for. There it is, apparent. That's one of the translations, the immediate or most common translations for it, the apparent, the obvious. And then Ali is the highest. So, Ya Rafi, Ya Zahir, Ya Ali, 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 in silence. Although the different religions, in teaching man how to act harmoniously and peacefully, have given out different laws, they all meet in this one truth. Do unto others as thou wouldst they should do unto thee. I thought we were going to revisit Huck. My note says more Huck, but as we were doing the last one, my brain multitasked to Ya Mustaqim, which is part of Al-Fatiha, and the line many of us know of Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim, that is the path of rightness. The word mustaqim actually is rightness, but it is a piercing through, and it is said to be a sword that is the sword of true perspective, along with the root of qim, that is qayyum, that's the same as qayyum, that is the returning, that means that we keep coming back to the rightness and the truth. So ya mustaqim, 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 Ya Mustaqim. Three more. Ya Mustaqim, Ya Mustaqim, Ya Mustaqim. And because I don't do or, Ya Haq, 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 Ya Haq in silence. Almost time to pray, you guys. Amen. Okay, how are y'all doing? There's one awesome. Nobody's asleep that I can tell. And a thumbs up. Any questions, comments, reflections of that process, experience, taking the readings, the teachings, the perspectives, weaving in practices to...
I love it.
I think it helps connect to both things, both the wazifas and the practice. They explain each other, they help. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, a lot of my training in the past was, working with what you're saying right through a lot of ego work, self-discovery practices with ourselves and each other, and meeting those various aspects of ourselves. So I love hearing this and bring this into the Sufi practice
Wonderful.
because it's all of it, right?
Yeah. Thank you, Safia. Mm-hmm.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're going to send all this wonderful stuff to us?
Mm-hmm. Here, do you want it?
No. Will you be giving us those great explanations of each name?
Huh. Well, you'll have the recording.
Yes.
You'll have the YouTube
Perfect.
recording,
Thank
and
you.
and like my notes, I went through and put the wazifa practice. I didn't do all of the ones that I thought we might, but I will be sending that in the summary to y'all. Yeah.
Thanks.
Any reflections out there in Zoom land, friends? Y'all are so quiet today. All right. Oh, do we have time to do a fun practice before our noon Zoom time?
Sophia is asking for the fan.
I know.
Who's got a good-
Is everybody okay with it?
A blanket for Zahira and a fan for Safia.
Like it for here, and the rest of us will be comfy.
Who's the guy from Sweden?
Rocking with the wazifas gets the qualities into our bodies. Yeah, Miriam, it's true.
Like it.
Very true.
What did you say?
Miriam posted something in the chat window that says rocking with the wazifas, you know, just embodying that in whatever direction, but moving the body with it, gets the qualities into our bodies. Yeah. And there's, I see the question in there also, Miriam, that it depends on whether you're wanting to pluralize the word wazifa in English or in Arabic. So it is common to see people saying wazifas because we say there's the one thing, and adding an S makes it plural, which in English is true, but it's not an English word. So in order to pluralize it in Arabic, it would be wazaif. Wazaif. Yeah, but that's, take it or leave it. I mean, that's true. So you can do it either way. If you say wazaif in most contexts where you're likely to be talking to people who know what you're talking about, they will not understand the word wazaif, and they're more likely to understand wazifas, which is not correct, but it's how it's commonly used in our Sufi communities. So, yeah. In my experience, saying wazaif, even though it's correct, in our Western communities, it sounds pretentious. Like, here's the right way to do it. But if nobody knows it that way, and it's just like, oh, you're the only person who knows how to say it correctly according to the Arabic grammar,
You're
like,
just teaching.
I'm glad you feel it that way, Anjali. I don't think most people feel it that way. They're like, oh, I've just been shamed for saying wazifas for my whole life, you know? But Murshid Sam said wazifas. That doesn't make it right, but it's true.
What's your path of least resistance?
Right. Okay. We don't have a whole lot of time for this next thing, but I think it would be fun, and we can do it. This is from A Bowl of Sake, which is, in man's search for truth. This is actually from November, but we're going to read it in May. I think Murshid would be okay with it, though. In man's search for truth, the first lesson and the last is love. There must be no separation, no I am and thou art not. Until man has arrived at that selfless consciousness, he cannot know life and truth. Here it is again. In one's search for truth, the first lesson and the last is love. There must be no separation, no I am and thou art not. Until one has arrived at that selfless consciousness, one cannot know life and truth. Want it again? I guess not. I don't know. There's some pausing. Here it is again. In one's search for truth, the first lesson and the last is love. There must be no separation, no I am, and thou art not. Until one has arrived at that selfless consciousness, one cannot know life and truth. True story. It's true. Okay. So, we have 2 minutes to do this, or maybe 4 minutes. Anjali, I'm going to ask you to be my first partner, but I'm going to ask you to turn to face that way so you can also turn to face Zahira. So I'll be
Ready?
your partner. And then, Salim, I'm going to ask you to be my corner. Y'all are going to have a little bit of a trick figuring out how you do this. So while I'm looking over at Anjali, Zahira's going to look over at Safia. And so you're partnering up that way. And those of you in the Zoom room can look side to side at each other.
In the gallery.
Yeah. Or just come up to the camera. Okay. So here's the first partner glance is, I do not exist.
Okay.
Everyone, I do not exist. And then turn to your corner. You exist.
You exist.
Back to your partner. I do not exist. To your corner. You exist. Partner. I do not exist. You exist. 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 4 more. I do not exist. You exist. 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 You exist. It is a zikr. It's called a zikr. All right, it's noon Zoom-in time, so we're probably going to have a few more people popping in here. Hello, Yvonne. And I'm so sorry I didn't get to say hello to Saida when she popped in earlier. Hello, Saida, if you end up watching this later. Hello, Saida. I love you, and I was happy to see you pop in for a moment. Hello, Samia and Salim. Okay. We're hanging out here with Murshid this morning. Murshids. All the Murshids. All you Murshids. All you Murshids. We could do the I do not exist zikr for hours.
It's really intense.
It is.
I know.
I could not do that for hours. Well, just
Wait for the
physically.
How long could you do it for?
I was turning my.
That was it.
Can my body be
Yeah, you were in a rough spot.
I was getting a lot of action
Yeah.
this way.
Imagining it with just
Yeah.
two people.
Ah,
That'd be
Maybe if we did it slower.
We
Oh, I thought
did.
it was fun.
we did in the beginning.
We did.
It's too much.
That's the whole point. And then you really do disappear because you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
It just it produced a lot of anxiety.
Oh yeah.
Oh, anxiety's no good. Let's not do that. Yeah. No.
Well, why wouldn't it produce anxiety? You just totally threaten the ego right there.
No, that's not. It's like too much. It's like
It's too frantic.
yeah.
I
Sorry to put a word in your mouth.
Okay. No, that's perfect.
It's a good word.
Was fun.
It was fun for a second.
For a second. A second is
I
good.
enjoyed it.
That's usually all we get. If you get a second of like, oh, I got it. That was awesome. That's it. That's perfect. That's your reward. That's your gold star. That second of, that was a fun second. Hello, Khabir. Oh, hello, Aliella. Hello, Freya. So we're in the middle of our monthly Sufi Circle over here. So we're gonna bop over and do our usual noon Zoom prayers, and then we have a few more things to do for our Sufi Circle, including number 10, which is the 10th copper rule. My outline says number 10
is the 10th.
is the 10th
Well,
copper
yeah,
rule.
right there.
You had no idea I was such a dork,
Oh
did
my
you?
God.
You're like, yeah.
What is your shopping list like? The shopping
Tenth
list?
donut. One donut per
That's
item.
What does that
Hello,
mean?
Khadija Noor. And hello, Uta. Hello, Abdullah. Might as well. I know, it is a lot of sitting. Okay, it's 12 o'clock. Svancha, are you still with us? And if you are, will you be bored to do the invocation in German with us a second time in one Zoom session? Okay, so let's start with Svancha, and then we'll see if Aliella is in a good place to share the invocation in Russian, and then we'll come back over here for English.
Never gets boring.
Never boring.
Dem einen entgegen, der Vollkommenheit, der Liebe, der Harmonie und der Schönheit, dem einzig Seienden, vereint mit all den erleuchteten Seelen, den Meister, den Geist der Führung verkörpern.
Единому совершенству любви, гармонии, красоты, единственно сущему, объединяясь со всеми просветленными душами, которые образуют воплощение мастера, путеводный дух.
Perante o Uno, a perfeição de amor, harmonia e beleza, o único ser, unido a todas as almas iluminadas, que formam a corporação do Mestre, o Espírito Guia. Amém.
Thank you, Temis Wadud. I didn't get to ask you first, so thanks for being ready to jump in there. And in English. Towards the one, the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, the only being, united with all the illuminated souls who form the embodiment of the Master, the Spirit of guidance. Amen. Working with Murshid's affirmations for the elemental breaths. I inhale divine light and life. I radiate divine life and light. Breath of earth in and out through the nose. The breath of water, breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the mouth. I inhale divine light and life. I radiate divine life and light. The breath of fire, breathing in through the mouth, breathing out through the nose. I inhale divine light and life. I radiate divine life and light. The breath of air in and out through the mouth. I inhale divine light and life. I radiate divine life and light. And the breath of ether, breathing through the nose, or however is natural for you. The prayer Nayas. Beloved Lord, Almighty God, through the rays of the sun, through the waves of the air, through the all-pervading life in space, purify and revivify me, and I pray, heal my body, heart, and soul. Amen. Happy and blessed full moon to all of you, to all of us. Full moon this evening, 10:15 p.m. technically, right here, and an eclipse that goes 8:45 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time until 11:30 or something like that. So, yes. So we're gonna sing one of Murshid's nature meditations.
We got it.
Those are really rare.
They really are, aren't they? I don't think they've ever happened before.
Sure.
Nature, meditation,
Speaking of correct grammar and diction.
which clearly I am lacking today. Ah, let my heart reflect thy light, Lord, as the moon reflects the light of the sun, in love, always in love. Hu Allah, hu Allah, hu Allah, hu Allah, hu Allah, hu. Let my heart reflect thy light, Lord, as the moon reflects the light of the sun, in love, always in love. Let my heart reflect thy light, Lord, as the moon reflects the light of the sun, prayer of protection. But then we're not closing the Zoom because we have more Sufi Circle stuff to do. I come from a perfect source. I am bound to a perfect goal. The light of the perfect being is kindled in my soul. I live and move and have my being in God. Nothing in the past or present has power to touch me. I rise above all. Here's our Sufi Circle peoples today. Ta-da! Okay, for those of you who are heading out into the rest of your day, lots of love and blessings. We do have meditation tomorrow morning at 9:30 Mountain Time. Only on the Zoom, not in my living room. Only on the Zoom, not in my living room. Okay, so see you in the morning. Lots of love, everybody. Bye, or stick around as you wish. A little more to do. We haven't reached number 10 yet. So, this week is the 10th copper rule, which is Anjali's favorite. My conscientious self, prove trustworthy in all your dealings. Prove trustworthy in all your dealings. I hope that all of you, all of us go, well, yeah, of course. Why would we do anything else? It might be easier said than done. Murshid has some things to say about it. From volume 3, which is The Art of Personality, in a subject in a topic, in a heading called Character Building. Are you ready? A man or woman conscientious in their duty. I'm just going to do the masculine. I'll come back and change it later. A man conscientious in his duty and in his obligations to his friends is more pious than someone sitting in solitude. You like it?
Please say it again.
Say it again.
A woman conscientious in her duty and her obligations to her friends is more pious than someone sitting in solitude. It is a greater virtue to be kind and take good care of other human beings than to sit by yourself in a cave meditating for your whole life. Anjali says, damn, but she takes such good care of people in her life all the time. The one in solitude does not serve God. He only helps himself by enjoying the pleasure of solitude. True story, huh? The one in solitude does not serve God. She only helps herself by enjoying the pleasure of solitude. But the one who proves trustworthy to every soul she meets and considers her relationships and connections, small or great, as something sacred, certainly observes the spiritual law of that religion, which is the religion of all religions. Mm. Do you want to hear that last part again? We got the part about enjoying the pleasure of your solitude is not serving God. We got that? Yep. You're still supposed to do it, just not for your whole life.
All right.
Just not for your whole life. That Murshid is very clear, balance, and that you absolutely need repose. And repose doesn't just mean sitting around watching Netflix, it means actually finding peace in your own mind. Right? So, but he's very clear, you need that. And for every moment that you spend engaged in the outer world, you need to balance that out with repose. So he's not saying don't meditate in solitude. He's just saying don't confuse that with serving humanity.
All right.
Okay. All right. Okay. But The one who proves trustworthy to every soul he meets and considers his relationships and connections, small or great, as something sacred, certainly observes the spiritual law of that religion which is the religion of all religions. You could use different words in there, but the essence will be the same. That being trustworthy, proving trustworthy, taking good care of, and tending to relationships as a sacred task is the fulfillment of your highest ideals and the spiritual teachings. Okay? He says other things in the Gathas. Would you like another? It's a little bit shorter of a paragraph in a different section. Same message, different words. Second verse, same as the first, different words. Same message, different words. That works. From the Gathas on everyday life. However good a person, if she easily partakes impressions, she cannot be trustworthy.
Interesting.
If you are highly impressionable, you cannot be trustworthy. If you are swayed by everything that happens around you, you do not have the stability and solidarity to be trustworthy. Ha! I love it. I love it. The one who has no willpower cannot even trust herself. The one who has no willpower cannot even trust himself. Do you hear that? And you're like, damn, called out, but so true, right? Those are the ones I love. Okay, next. The one who is strong enough to keep away from his mind all undesirable impressions will, in time, radiate harmony and will create the atmosphere of peace. Thus, making himself happy, he will bring happiness to others.
That's good.
Here's that part again. The one who is strong enough to keep away from her mind all undesirable impressions will, in time, radiate harmony and will create the atmosphere of peace. Thus, making herself happy, she will bring happiness to others. Do you
So
love
what
it?
are some
I love it.
undesirable impressions?
Oh, all kinds of things. How often do you watch or hear or pay attention to something in the outer world and you're like, wow, now I'm mad? Yeah, it's all kinds of things, anything in the outer world. Though there is the also simultaneous reality that if you are really stable, grounded, resourced, clear, then you can maintain your tranquility and your happiness even if there's a shit show all around you. Right? That you can. That I don't know if you can. We have that potential. We have that potential. And that is a big part of the Sufi path, is cultivating those qualities of stability and centeredness and having that solid, strong, ongoing relationship with our inner peace and our inner happiness so that we are not toppled over and destabilized by the circumstances of life. That doesn't mean we don't care about them. It means that we don't crumple in the face of them. Yeah. Okay. We have just a few more moments. That was enough readings, though, wasn't it? It was a lot of immersive words today. Well, those are all the ones. Well, there is a whole nother section that I brought, but we're not going to do it. She was like, I saw that page. Yeah, there is a whole nother page, but we're not going to do that one. I think we have enough. I think we had enough about the law of reciprocity, selfless conscience, awakened justice, prove trustworthy in all your dealings. My conscientious self, prove trustworthy in all your dealings.
Yeah, when you read about that, you were in there the whole time.
What do you mean?
I feel that you are very trustworthy.
Thank you.
Just everything you said
Yeah.
felt like that's what you're living.
Awesome. I feel that way too. I'm very glad that you feel that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trustworthy. And I hope that we are all aspiring to be trustworthy, that we want the people who know us to say, yep, that person is consistent, that person is reliable, that person, I trust what that person says to be true. Not necessarily like always smart and right, but that there's a truth, a belief, a sincerity in that. Yeah. Those are super important qualities. Yeah. And going back to the beginning, that doesn't mean you can't change your mind about things, because it is actually a value to be able to change your mind, but not because you can't make up your mind.
Or because someone's throwing you off your mind.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Any last questions, comments from the peanut gallery of Zoom land? I'm only saying that because you've been so quiet today.
Yeah.
Do you have something equivalent to a peanut gallery in German, Svancha? I don't know what that would be. Seems like such an English language-ism.
You'll find out when you guys go.
Okay. I guess we're going to find out all kinds of things.
I actually know what that refers to. What's
Peanut gallery?
a peanut gallery?
Well, I used it a little bit incorrectly, but a peanut gallery is the collection of people who are spectators but want to chime in on things. That even though they're not really part of the thing, they're not the participants. They're just like watching it, but they have opinions.
And then you want to express them. And they want to know.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna finish with the prayer khatum. Is it time for that yet? I don't know. Should we go back? We have another 2 minutes. We do. I do not exist. You exist. I do not exist. You exist. We've had enough. I'm sorry, Zahira. We're not going to do it again.
All right.
We're not going to do it again. All right. Here's the prayer khatum. It's in the hymnal, in the missalettes if you need them, or in the chat window. O thou, who art the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, the Lord of heaven and earth, open our hearts that we may hear thy voice, which constantly cometh from within. Disclose to us thy divine light, which is hidden in our souls, that we may know and understand life better. Most merciful and compassionate God, give us thy great goodness. Teach us thy loving forgiveness. Raise us above the distinctions and differences which divide. Send us the peace of thy divine Spirit, and unite us all in thy perfect being. Okay, friends, thanks for being with us. I'm going to stop the recording, but I'm not going to close the Zoom yet, so you're welcome to hang out with us if you wish. Thanks for a beautiful circle today.